It's Emil. It's Emil Guillermo. Emil amok to you. How are you, everyone? Emil amok's Takeout, name of the program, My Takes on All Things Considerable. This is a significant day because it is the 100th day of the Trump 2.0 administration. And what do you know? He woke up today. He woke up a loser. I mean, Canada did it. Told him, hey, you're a loser. And the American public, through opinion polls, say, hey, you're a loser. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the Amazon thing. You know, this is a good idea. If you shop Amazon, there was a report that said that Amazon was going to show how tariffs are passed on to consumers and what part of the price that you pay ends up being part of the tariff plan of Trump. Well, of course, Donald Trump threw a gasket, and because he's got some kind of hotline with his billionaire tech bros, he was in a shouting match with Bezos. Bezos backed down, said it wasn't official, said it wasn't going to happen. And then later on, Trump confirmed, oh, yeah, we had a nice talk. That's how billionaires do business, I guess. But I think Amazon should have done it. I mean, they should have said, well, look, Mr. President, tariffs are real. Tariffs are, you're Mr. Tariff. And we got to show people why the price of things on Amazon are going to cost more. It's because of the 10% across the board, or 150 or 145% on Chinese goods. I swear, I think I felt some, because I like to buy these little gizmos. I shouldn't. It's an addiction. Buy these gizmos from China. Of course, here's my tip. If you see something on Facebook actually is the best place to buy these things because you can always return them if they're bad. What I don't like is when you go online, like Facebook or Instagram, and you buy something, and it's invariably from China, and there's really no recourse. They say, oh, you can, email us and we'll give you a refund. That's never worked out for me. And that's the one thing about shopping on Amazon. If you want to return something, even if it's from some far-flung independent merchant, you can get your money back, or you can get a return. You have recourse. Anyway, I liked the idea that was being floated this morning, and then Donald Trump got in the act, and I guess he woke up on the wrong side of bed, because he knew it was the 100th day, and he knew that he's got really nothing to show for it. The 100th day, he signed over 100 executive orders. There are more than 200 lawsuits blocking everything that he wants to do, because everything he wants to do is virtually illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional. When everything you do is an overreach of power, the only thing you can say is, well, this is why we have all these lawsuits. This is why California Attorney General Rob Bonta and those 19 other attorney generals, state attorney generals from around the country are like our last line of defense, filing lawsuit after lawsuit to stop Trump, the Trump administration, from doing what it thinks it can do, because they can do whatever they please in their minds, right? It's the act of a wannabe king, the administration of an American monarchy. They do whatever they want. The state AGs say, wait a minute, that's an overreach. And then you have the lawsuit, and then you have the judges get in the act, and ultimately everything will go up to the Supreme Court. But this is, in the first 100 days, probably the most litigious administration we've ever had. And all of it, of course, meant to undo our democracy, undo our nation, make America not great again, but in the fantasy image of Donald Trump, which is not good for anyone except Donald Trump. So here we are, and 100 days in, and I wrote a column for Inquirer.net, and I just said, hey, the Lapu-Lapu tragedy, I'm writing for Filipinos, Inquirer.net, the Lapu-Lapu tragedy and Canada make Trump a loser on his 100th day. Big time. Because there was Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, a winner, and the Liberal Party was down double digits until Trump came on the scene back in January, February, started talking about Canada as the 51st state. And then Trudeau left the office. Carney took over. He wanted snap elections because he wanted a sense that he had support. He wanted snap elections. He got them, and he won yesterday on Monday on day 99. And, day 98, Sunday, day before the election, not a great time for Vancouver or for Canada, because in Vancouver they had the Lapu-Lapu celebration, the car ramming there. But you got to hand it to Mark Carney, because he knew the humane thing to do. It was to unite the country and unite, well, not just Canada, but all those people who are scratching their heads and wondering, what's wrong with the United States? What's wrong with Donald Trump? Mark Carney took time from campaigning on Sunday, day before the election, to be in Vancouver at a makeshift memorial near the attack scene. He greeted family, he greeted friends of the victims, and he honored people like there's just a few of the victims. There's 11 who died, but only a few have been identified. Filipina Vicky Jarnison was one of them. She came to Canada from the Philippines to celebrate her birthday with her sons. Last week, she was scheduled to go back. Today, she was scheduled to go back. But of course, she didn't make it. She was struck by the SUV allegedly driven by Kai G. Adam Lowe, 30. He's the suspect in this alleged car ramming incident. Kai G. Adam Lowe, known to have mental health issues, charged with multiple counts of second-degree murder. Mark Carney knew what to do to bring together Vancouver, bring together the Filipino community, to bring together Canada. He suspended the campaign so that he could do that. Light a candle. That's the kind of leader Canada has. It's not the kind of leader America has. I mean, just compare Carney with the actions of Donald Trump just on Monday, yesterday, knowing that Canada was reeling from an horrific tragedy. Was there a display of human decency or sympathy from the American president? I mean, I didn't hear of anything. No comment. I mean, Trump was solely... What is going on here? Yeah, that should be on Do Not Disturb, Trump was solely focused on those snap elections on Monday. And true to form, Trump was Trump. He was crass, he was vulgar, he was loudish, he was bullying. 11 dead and a mass killing merits some kind of attention from a world leader, right? But Trump isn't that. He was insulting Canada. And he was encouraging Canadians to vote for him. He's not even on the ballot. But he was ranting on social media. He said, here's a quote. He said, elect the man who has the strength and wisdom to cut your taxes in half. Increase your military power for free to the highest level in the world. Have your car, steel, aluminum, lumber, energy, and all other businesses quadruple in size with zero tariffs or taxes if Canada becomes the cherished 51st state of the United States of America. I mean, this is Donald Trump campaigning in Canada for himself. Well, maybe he should have been on the ballot because then he'd have to resign from the United States presidency. But it was kind of a delusional rant on Trump's social media. And it just shows how the American president is not well. He is not well. Is he joking or is he just not well? If he's joking, he kind of took it too far, I think. I mean, it's perhaps a nicer way than, say, Russia taking over Crimea or invading Ukraine, but the point is the same. Oh, what kind of leader talks to a sovereign ally in this way? So, day 99, day of the election, Trump was losing it. And all the talk about Canada's America's 51st state brought Canada's Liberal Party together, formed a coalition with others to give them a double-digit, to overcome a double-digit deficit and to win the election. 43 to 41 was the last projection I saw. So on day 100 of Trump's American presidency, Trump wakes up a loser in Canada. Where Carney and the Liberals are victors, and the anti-Trump sentiment focused on his trade war tariffs so strong in Canada that I'm sure he could hear it. That his decision to wage a trade war with tariffs, not wise. Now here's a guy who in The Atlantic said this week, I run the country and the world. Didn't work out that way in Canada. Canadians just said no. And now, on the 100th day, so many more Americans are saying no too. I mean, they're public opinion polls. Say what you will. Oh, snapshot in time, they don't mean anything. Well, they mean something. They give you a sense of where the public is. I mean, there are no ballots cast in the U.S. on Monday, but this raft of new opinion polls show a massive slide by Trump. Trump, in the first 100 days into this second term, can't muster not 49% of the vote that won him the election last November. His approval rating has dropped from 45% to just 39%. His approval rating. His disapproval rating has risen from 53 to 55%. From February to April. And this is all according to the latest Washington Post ABC News Ipsos poll. And, Trump can attack the pollsters, say, it's malarkey. He can't refute the data. I mean, the Washington Post is saying this is the worst showing by a president ever since pollsters started taking data on a president's first 100 days. And, of course, on the key issue of the economy and tariffs, the approval rating of Trump's handling of the economy, just 39%. On tariffs, just 35%. On whether or not there's going to be inflation, 35% approve of his handling, only 35%. I'm telling you. First 100 days, right? Guy wants to take over Canada and Greenland. He's a guy who makes mistakes deporting innocent people without due process. More recently, babies who are citizens. He's a guy who declares everything is an emergency and then starts a trade war with the world. He's a guy willing to defy the courts and the Constitution. This is a staggering negative achievement. The Trump first 100 days. And we're beginning to sense that people are turning, that we finally maybe reached that point where people are turning on Trump. Because how many people do you know who are such Trump supporters, they won't budge. They're willing to TIT, trust in Trump. But now you can TIT at your own peril. I think if people have the courage, they can stop a trend in America by just following Canada and what Canada did yesterday. You're not going to hear much of it on the news, not much in America, just that Mark Carney won. Mark Carney, by the way, interestingly enough, graduate of Harvard, Oxford, smart guy, banker. A little dry. Didn't really like him that much when I first saw him after Trudeau, because everyone warms up to Trudeau. But then he dropped down. Mark Carney came in. And actually, I think he's been strong. He's been stern, and he has told it like it is. The Americans under Trump are no longer the leaders. They are no longer the models that everyone, bases their actions on. We don't follow the U.S., not with Trump at the head. And some of this has got to be sinking in with Donald Trump, because he realizes that he's losing standing among allies. He's getting laughed at by adversaries. Our closest allies, right? Canada. Used to be. Now it's kind of somewhat adversarial. Not, well, adversarial, not to the point of, say, Russia, although look at how Donald Trump treats Russia. Maybe let's say not to the point of how China is an adversary. But then as I say that, China's got all this property and businesses they own in the United States. There's the TikTok thing. China is an adversary. They're kind of a partner in some respects too. But should they be closer a partner than Canada? We've alienated Canada in our first 100 days. My goodness. So, Mark Carney, congratulations to Mark Carney. He really has shown the world Donald Trump's a loser. The Canadians have shown the world Donald Trump's a loser. And we see in our own public opinion polls here in the United States, Donald Trump is got to reverse course, got to do something, because the poll numbers, while a snapshot in time, they don't show an upside. The trend is down, and people are thinking there's fear. There is, real concern about the economy and about recession from not just, common folk like myself, but from people who, are big hedge fund runners and financial people. They don't like what's going on. So that might explain why within the last hour, we've seen Trump reverse course on some auto industry tariffs. He's in Michigan. This is how he's spending his 100th day, besides yelling it on the phone with Jeff Bezos. He's reversing course on some auto industry tariffs, which might help. Scaling back its 25% tariffs on imported automobiles and auto parts that were scheduled to go into effect on May 3rd. So this is how Trump does business. He goes out there, sticks his head out, doesn't get chopped off. He sees that it's a negative. He pulls it back. Not the kind of way I'd like to see a business run nor a country run. And yet, a lot of people voted for Trump because they said, oh, he's a businessman. This is the way we want to see the country run. No, it's not the way we want to see the country run. It is not the way we want to see the country run. First 100 days, start looking ahead at the second 100 days when the courts weigh in and when the state AGs get in the act and litigate on the more than 200 suits that are trying to stop Donald Trump from doing everything from stopping diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in public schools to the illegal firings at federal offices. I mean, Donald Trump is full employment for America's lawyers. That's for sure. And maybe that's why he's picked on big law, because he needs all the pro bono work he can get from the best possible lawyers. Usually the best possible lawyers of big law give their pro bono work to like poverty lawyers, neighborhood lawyers, civil rights lawyers. But Donald Trump sort of arm locked him. Got the free pro bono work for himself for some of the biggest firms. Anyway, we'll see what happens in the second 100 days. Already we're seeing California State Attorney General Rob Bonta making the scene in news circles, because people say, well, who's leading the charge for the attorneys general? Rob Bonta. Alameda's Rob Bonta. And he was the first to file a suit in federal court to stop the tariffs, saying that tariffs are illegal. I mean, all of this is, all the things that Trump wants to do, the overreach, is all illegal. I mean, the president can't make law. That's Congress's job. The president can't spend money or authorize money. That's Congress's job. And he can't stop money from being sent out. That's Congress's job to do that. Once they approve, it's their job, not the president's job. The overreach is a violation of the Constitution. The overreach is unlawful. That's why you're seeing the suits, the lawsuits. So the next 100 days are all going to be litigious as heck. And we'll see just how much the state's attorneys generals are able to stop Donald Trump. If you're rooting for America, if you're rooting for the Constitution, you're rooting for California AG Rob Bonta and all the states' AGs. All right, so we got the second 100 days. That I think the first 100 is enough for a lifetime, but now that we're in court, second 100 days have a path laid out, and it's going to go up the chain, maybe up to the Supreme Court. It's going to be consequential. This is where this is where the standards are made. And if you like the constitutional standard, if you like that standard that, oh yeah, we have three branches, three co-equal branches of government, they all do different things, and the executive branch cannot overreach, well then, stay in your lane, Donald Trump. We'll see. We'll see how strong the courts are. So far, the courts have been more strong than not. I was going to say mixed. Donald Trump has had one or two victories, a handful of victories, but mostly it's the courts have been holding it up and then kicking it up, and we'll see it go all the way to the Supreme Court on some issues. So we'll follow that. All right. Before I go, did you see the Warrior game last night? Man, that was entertaining. That was an entertaining game, because when a team is, say, plus or minus 10, 15, that's not too much. You can overcome those deficits, with one big run. And so I'm never thinking that the Warriors are out, but it was really an ebb and flow kind of game. Warriors jump out ahead, then the Rockets take over, they lead at half, and then the Warriors play a decent third quarter, and the Rockets come back. And darn that Fred VanVleet, man, he was hitting threes. Unfortunately, I wasn't playing. Brandon Pajimski was hitting his threes, and so was Buddy Hield. noteworthy was Jonathan Kuminga wasn't playing, and I think it's kind of set, right? We've seen Kuminga play. He's 22, and he's not the guy. Not yet. Not for these Warriors. So I think he's going to be a free agent. Let him walk. I think the Warriors get to counter, but I think I'm divorcing myself from Jonathan Kuminga. I love Kuminga. I think Kuminga is better than Moody, although I like Moody. But Moody has a shot that is more off than on. He's become a defensive player, and he's not that tall. Now, the Warriors, in that same draft where they got Kuminga and Moody, they could have had Franz Wagner. I wish they had gotten Wagner, because Wagner's doing it for Orlando, and he's 6'10". And we know the Warriors, they're not strong, they're not physical, they're not tall. And that's something I'd like to see. But, they played with a small lineup last night. I mean, the Butler is playing, but they weren't playing Kevon Looney that much. Kuminga wasn't playing. So Draymond Green was, I think, the tallest guy. And then he was benched because he had fouls in the technical. So the Warriors had to do it with guile. They had to do it with, their small physicality, which sounds like an oxymoron. It is. But I think in the end, people are pointing out, must be the experience. Must be the experience of the Warriors. Anyway, it's entertaining basketball, and I'm glad the Warriors are back in the thick of it. You look at the brackets, I think they get by the Rockets. Can they get by the Timberwolves? They have in the past. They've also been blown out by them. But if they get by the Timberwolves, then we'll see what could be a Western Finals of the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Warriors. Boy, that's like it's been over the last few years. That's been the Western Division Finals, right? Warriors, OKC. I think I'd have to give the edge to the Warriors, although OKC is a great team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I mean, he's great. But can the Warriors get by them? I think with playoff Jimmy, yeah. And then on the Eastern side, I think I like the Cavs better than the Celtics. That'll be tough. Either or. If it's Dubs versus the Cavs, Dubs versus the Celtics, it'll be a great series. I mean, if this is the time to watch basketball. This is the time. I mean, a little bit of baseball too. Just to whet your appetite on baseball. The Giants, fortunately, are playing great. If you're a Mets fan, the Mets are too. And they didn't pay an arm and a leg like the Dodgers. Oh, actually, the Mets did spend. The Mets did spend too. For Juan Soto, of course they did. But the Dodgers, they're the money team. They're the money team now. Anyway, it's a great sports time, and I haven't even mentioned hockey because I don't usually get into hockey until the actual Stanley Cup, not the first, the first rounds of the playoffs. But basketball, exciting, and baseball, like I said, what's your appetite? It'll get exciting in baseball in August and September, and then you watch, and then October baseball is the best. And then you're in football season. Then you're when football starts, and that's how you lay your life out by the sports schedule. And of course, if you're thinking about October and November this year, by then we should be thinking about the midterms. We should be thinking. I mean, who knows what's going to happen the next 100 days? See, the next 100 days would be about 3-4 months from now. So May, June, July, August. So around September, October. The second 100 days, be kind to Trump. Let's hope not. For the kinds of things he wants to do, deport people off the streets. Although, of Courts are saying, hey, look, you have to have a warrant if you're going to arrest people, if you're going to drag people out, if you're going to search homes. The courts, the rule of law is hanging in there. Hanging in there. The real test will be if voters say, now's the time to switch. Now's the time to switch from tariff man. Yeah, I think it is. All right, that's it for me today. I just wanted to say a couple quick things. Check me out on Inquirer.net, also on YouTube at Amilamuk1. We close with a little meditation. It's always the meditative state, right? You try to save yourself from yourself. Try to limit all those negative thoughts coming in, all the thoughts from your mind coming in and just messing with you. Just let them go. Let them go. Let them go. And then pull out your reserve of love. Send out your love to all your enemies. Send out that love. You know, that's what it's about. You send it out, more of it, 2, 3 times. It comes back 5, 6 times back. That's how my mom used to always say. Yeah, show the love, it'll come back. 4-fold, 5-fold, 6-fold. And so, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. You know, I talk about Vancouver today. I think I just can't quit talking about Vancouver. You think about those people who are still suffering. I'm going to be in Vancouver later this summer. And we're going to try to heal, tell Filipino stories. That's coming up. All right. So, till next time. Mahal kita.